I was sickened. I was sickened by the standing ovation. I felt like Hollywood is just spineless, en masse. It really felt like, oh, this is a really clear indication that we're not the cool club anymore.
There was some question today about if anyone else had walked from the audience and done that, they would have been escorted out by security or maybe even arrested. They asked Chris, do you want to file charges? And Chris apparently said no.
That's why I don't judge between Will Smith and Chris Rock, because you guys look at them as big ideas, but I look at them as fellow dreamers. I can't judge between them because I see myself in both of them. I am Will Smith. I am the man that cannot take it anymore and will slap the shit out of the next person that says a crossword to me or somebody that I love. And I am Chris.
Hollywood sells perfection. But what happens when the illusion cracks? Live, in front of the world. March 2022. The Oscars stage. One moment, one slap, and suddenly, everything changed. But this story isn't just about Will Smith. It's about what came after. The silence, the protection, and the voices that refused to stay quiet. Two names stood apart from the crowd, Jim Carrey and Dave Chappelle. And what they revealed might say more about Hollywood than anyone expected.
I was sickened. I was sickened by the standing ovation. I felt like Hollywood is just spineless, en masse. And it really felt like, oh, this is a really clear indication that we're not the cool club anymore.
Jim Carrey weighing in on Will Smith's Oscar controversy during a new interview with Gayle King for CBS Mornings.
They asked Chris, do you want to file charges? And Chris apparently said no, he did not.
He doesn't want the hassle.
Him getting slapped and then him trying to go back to comedy and seeing Will Smith meltdown in front of him. That moment was probably the end of how anybody will ever think of Will Smith again as this movie star guy, this happy guy with his family who's like putting together all these incredible films and goes on to win the Academy Award that night, goes on stage and they applaud him after he just assaulted one of the greatest comedians that's ever lived over the most innocuous roast joke. Like, what? That's it? It's so mild.
Y'all know what happened to me. Getting smacked by Suge Smith, and people like, did it hurt? It still hurts. I got summertime ringing in my ear, but I'm not a victim, baby. You will never see me on Oprah or Gayle crying. I couldn't believe it, and I love Men in Black. I love Will Smith. My whole life I root for this motherfucker. And a lot of people go, Chris, how come you didn't do nothing back that night? Because I got parents. Because I was raised. And you know what my parents taught me? Don't fight in front of white people.
While most of Hollywood stayed quiet, Jim Carrey did the opposite. He didn't just criticize the moment, he questioned the entire system behind it. Why wasn't there accountability? Why was there applause instead of consequences?
I announced this morning that I was suing Will for $200 million because that video is going to be there forever. It's going to be ubiquitous.
Jim Carrey was on hand promoting his new movie, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, but yeah, he made it clear how he felt about Will Smith's actions on Sunday night.
You do not have the right to walk up on stage and smack somebody in the face because they said words.
Since Sunday night, the Academy has launched a formal review into Smith's actions on stage, and Will has since issued a statement.
Will Smith is a twat.
Oh, I liked him.
Will Smith has been hiding the fact of who he really is, and it was exposed that night. That he's really an asshole. But I wasn't allowed to say anything at that time because we were part of the committee that was supposed to punish him.
And how do you punish him?
Wow, wait. Just back up a second. Hang on.
I want to know
Will
what the punishment
Smith is like, for me, when I met him, right, I always say...
Like the nicest, most wonderful, he's a liar. Complete, utter fraud. Will is a douchebag, and that's something that you can't. The thing is, that's how politically correct the Academy is.
Right.
That they were so cowardly. Because if I would have done that, they would have been hauled out to prison. But because they were so worried about being, racist. Violence is what it is, and what the color of your skin or your.
The incident itself is now history. Will Smith walked on stage, struck Chris Rock, and minutes later, received a standing ovation. To some, it was shocking. To others, like Jim Carrey, it revealed something deeper. A system where power protects power.
Oh, he did not.
He doesn't want the hassle. I'd announced this morning that I was suing Will for $200 million because that video is going to be there forever. It's going to be ubiquitous. If you want to yell from the audience and disapprove or show a disapproval or say something on Twitter or whatever, you do not have the right to walk up on stage and smack somebody in the face because they said words.
Your religion doesn't matter.
Sure.
If you commit a crime in front of other people, you get hauled out of there.
Yeah, but didn't you also sort of think, oh, he's standing up for his missus? You didn't like that?
It doesn't matter. You can't hit another dude.
I could never do what Chris Rock did.
The shit about Will Smith was ruthless. It's just like, imagine the thought, like, I'm just gonna slap Chris Rock, one of the greatest stand-up comedians of all time. It's not like he's gonna tear my very vulnerable life apart with some of the best comedy that anybody's ever written. Like, what a terrible, unprovoked attack. What a dumb thing to do. To like be that person who's like publicly.
But Jim Carrey wasn't alone. Dave Chappelle had been watching closely. A comedian known for stepping away from fame at its peak, walking away from a $50 million deal in 2005. Why? Because, in his own words, something about the system didn't feel right.
By Will Smith, which was one of the craziest things I'd ever seen. In fact, if you watch it live on television like I did, when it happened, I thought it was fake. I did, and I wasn't sure, so you know what I did? I waited, because unlike you, I know Chris. I waited like 30, 40 minutes, as long as it would take him to get to another party. And I called him on FaceTime, and he picked up. As soon as he picked up, he said, "You was the only nigga I'd answer the phone for." Apparently, Obama and Oprah, everybody had called this nigga to see.
Really love, like Will Smith was, until that moment. Nobody really had a bad thing to say about, maybe he didn't like one movie, or maybe he thought the superhero movie was dumb, but everybody loved that guy.
I still love Will.
But those two, keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth. Those two are what sunk him. If he just slapped Chris Rock and then sat down and didn't say anything,
People would think it was a joke.
they wouldn't know what to do.
Apologizing to Chris Rock, saying in part, quote, "I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line and I was wrong. I was embarrassed and my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be. There is no place for violence in a world of love and kindness." On Sunday, Extra spoke to many stars who also weighed in on Will's behavior.
Chappelle didn't just see the slap as drama. He saw it as a case study. Not about anger, not about ego, but about how the industry reacts when one of its biggest stars crosses a line. Who gets protected and who doesn't.
Will Smith. Will Smith.
Yes.
Okay. I've seen him in the news recently, but I haven't watched the clip. Okay.
It's cringy.
Okay.
You haven't heard the latest about his diss track against Chris Rock?
I heard about it. I didn't actually, I saw the headline, but I didn't actually watch it.
He said something about I'ma get enraged. When you disrespect me on the stage, you best believe I'ma come up on the stage.
Okay,
and
hold on.
And in the comments,
Did you think it was staged when you posted that?
Sort of, kind of, but I never know. Still don't know.
Okay, let me ask you about the performances. Who stood out to you tonight with the performances?
The Native American girl. Okay.
Like the R&B one?
It was a one. What was it?
Oh, Chloe.
Everything was all right. And I thought it was fake. I didn't know. So I asked him, I go, well, you know. He said, what? I said, did it hurt? And he said, yes, nigga, it hurt. And then I knew that it was real. And then, and only then.
For decades, Will Smith was more than a star. He was an image, claim, control, untouchable. From the Fresh Prince to blockbuster dominance, he built one of the most carefully managed reputations in Hollywood. But after 2022, that image started to change.
When Will slapped Chris Rock, he slapped me. I teared up. I was on the phone with Sybil Wilkes, Mara J, and J. Anthony Brown. We tend to talk together through these things, and then we thought, this is the best Oscars I've ever seen in my life. Will Packer did a great job. I mean, for an hour and a half, I didn't go pee. I didn't get to go. If the music, Sly and the Family Song, all of the greatest music you could ever hear. And then came Will. And when he slapped Chris, he slapped me, and I just go.
people were like, wow, he rhymed stage 3 times in a row.
Okay, hold on. Let me listen to it real quick.
Right.
Hold on, and we could probably even play a little short clip.
But you gotta play the one about an action star.
don't think that was that bad. I think that was actually kind of clever. He actually used stage 3 times, but it actually made sense all 3 times. You think that was a whack verse? No, I actually like that.
Shit was
I'm not a fan of Will Smith the rapper. But that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad.
No, but here's the other part that people are going, like, you said you sincerely apologized.
In late 2025, a new controversy emerged. A civil lawsuit filed by musician Brian King Joseph alleged wrongful termination and workplace misconduct. Warning important. These are allegations only. Will Smith has denied all claims, calling them false and baseless.
Hey guys, Jackson Buhai here with TMZ, and it seems like Will Smith is in a lot of hot water regarding this new sexual harassment lawsuit. Now, in a world where sexual harassment lawsuits are frequently filed against celebrities, unfortunately, you may be sitting at home thinking that you know exactly what kind of allegations these are. Well, let me tell you, you don't, and we're going to get into them in just a second. Now, what I also want to get into is that these are just allegations. We are not going to know exactly what happened in this case until it reaches court. One other thing I want to add is that we reached out to Will Smith's lawyer, who had a lot to say regarding this sexual harassment lawsuit, and I don't think you guys are prepared.
Was I offended? And I wasn't just offended that he got slapped. That was only half of it. The real offensive part was that after they slapped him, this nigga Will just sat down and enjoyed the rest of his evening. It was crazy. It was just... The fuck is this? And then all year, we was touring, and I couldn't wait to see what...
Around the same time, public conversations about elite networks intensified globally. Discussions about power, influence, and how certain circles operate behind closed doors. Warning: there is no verified evidence linking Will Smith to any criminal network or wrongdoing in those discussions. But what changed was public perception. People started asking more questions.
There's Will Smith and Jada, nasty secrets. They're talking about Tyrese, they talking about Brashear Gray, and more. Tyler Perry and Donnie McClurkin sued. I don't know about Donnie McClurkin situation. I heard Tyler Perry was sued again, and I know about the violinist with Will Smith, but I'm here to see what they're talking about with the Will and Jada, I guess, Brashear Gray.
For what he said to us, so stick around until the end to find out what he said. So if you remember, back in March of 2025, Will Smith launched his very first tour in over 20 years called Based on a True Story Tour. So lawsuit aside, this tour actually took the public by surprise, considering that Will Smith was coming off the back end of the major controversy that most have coined the slappening. Obviously, Will Smith slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars. What shocked me in particular was that I didn't know Will Smith had fans. I mean, I knew he had fans, but not enough fans.
Like, holy cow. First of all, just like everybody, we thought that it was a prank. Nope. And then I started to tear up, and I was just going, this mother sucker. Ruined it? Just ruined it for me, because I was waiting for my favorite actor to receive his award. And my favorite actor at that time was Will Smith.
And then came something even more noticeable. Silence. Fewer appearances. Fewer interviews. A quieter public presence. For someone once everywhere, the absence became impossible to ignore.
Look, man, if y'all don't know who he is, he's the what is he, Hakeem? Right? Hakeem from Empire. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that Jaguar Wright had said some things about him as well. Spooky Hours. Again, the original video will be in the description.
To fill multiple stadiums across the tour. No hate to Will Smith. Growing up, I love Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but my God, that did take me by surprise. Okay, I'm getting off topic here, but let's continue. So, in launching this tour, Will Smith hired a violinist that goes by the name of Brian King Joseph. Now, that name may or may not ring a bell to you, because Brian King Joseph has actually garnered a significant following on social media for posting his violin videos. Editor, roll the clip right here. He also appeared in America's Got Talent back in 2013 and has worked with a variety of...
But then you do that.
Right. You just throw the apology out the window.
Come on, man.
Yeah. You're like, fuck
Come
that
on,
apology.
man. Which means you weren't sincere to begin with.
Not at all.
So, but you type in the one where he goes action star. You should be able to just pull like a Will Smith action star.
All right, hold on.
This is the bounce back. And he's doing a lot of that. This is the bounce back.
The industry moved on, but the questions didn't. Why did the reaction feel uneven? Why do some careers collapse instantly, while others recover? And why did voices like Jim Carrey and Dave Chappelle seem to stand outside the system, looking in?
Og and I haven't talked in so long. You know what I mean?
We haven't talked in so long. It doesn't even matter. We haven't talked in so long. Imagine you go to court. I robbed a bank 2 years ago and they caught me. Oh yeah, but I haven't robbed that bank in so long. So it's not wrong. It was a couple years ago, Judge. Why are you so hung up about it? Think of all the good. When I robbed that bank, I had to confront so much about myself. I was scared and I was nervous, but I confronted it and I learned so much about myself and my emotional insecurity, Judge. Yeah, okay, what I did was wrong, but look at all the good that came from it. Let's talk about me and how I feel. I just feel attracted to, I knew there was a guy who needed some money and he's a broken person and I have to help him. And it was so long ago, Judge. It was so long ago. Jail!
Maybe this was never just about one moment or one man. Maybe it's about something bigger, a system built on image, sustained by silence, and protected by power. Jim Carrey called it out. Dave Chappelle questioned it. And whether people agree or not, the conversation has already begun.
For you guys to check out more and even subscribe, all right? We ain't gonna waste no more time. Let's jump right into it.
However, I watched an interview that Unwind with Tasha K did with Will's former friend of almost 40 years named Bilal. Bilal has a book coming out that is exposing Will and Jada's dark secrets. And he alleged a lot of different things in this book, and he also made some wild allegations. And
of big artists. Now, Brian here in this lawsuit is claiming that in November of 2024, Will Smith asked him to come over to his house to discuss an upcoming opportunity regarding his tour. Brian went over to the house and played the violin for Will Smith. Will Smith liked what he heard and subsequently played at a one-off show in San Diego before being invited to play on the rest of Will Smith's tour.
Earlier this year, I was hired to be a performer on a major tour with somebody who is huge in the industry.
So Will Smith and Brian cultivated a close relationship thereafter, with the lawsuit even stating that Will Smith at one point told...
As lawsuits continue and public opinion evolves, the real story is still unfolding, not just about Will Smith, but about Hollywood itself. So here's the question. This is what we can see. What's still hidden? Is Hollywood protecting its biggest stars? Subscribe for more investigations.